Dante Wright's death is reigniting some really tough conversations about what role race plays when it comes to interactions between police and the community.
Driving while black is a phrase used to describe the racial profiling of people of color and the dangers they face when we get behind the wheel. Michael Harriot, a senior writer at TheRoot.com, took a deep dive into this very issue, and he joins us this morning to share his thoughts. Michael, thank you so much for being with us this morning.
Thank you for having me.
So in Minneapolis, right, African-American drivers are 5 times more likely to get pulled over than white drivers. For Dante Wright, Philando Castile, those traffic stops ended in tragedy. And really, if we just look at the last 5 years, we've seen the span of these incidents. We've seen the driver that's been 100% compliant. We've seen one who may be a little nervous because they're being pulled over by an officer. And then we've seen another instance where a driver may possibly flee, whether in their car or on foot. In all of those incidents, it results in an African-American being either shot and killed or aggressively policed. So what is the state doing, Michael, right now to address this really disturbing and dangerous trend?
Well, it doesn't appear that they're doing very much. One of the things that they could do is de-escalation training and addressing their officers and letting them know that the people who they pull over might be as sketchy and nervous as they are. And I think that's one of the things that they could do to address this. And the other thing is, we always talk about this at the back end, right? About, the aggressiveness, about the policing, about resisting, but we never talk about the fact that cops are more likely to twice as likely to pull over African-American drivers, even in majority white cities. No matter where you are in the country, in Minneapolis, it's 5 times, but in most cities or nationwide, it's twice as often. And so we have to address that, why cops pull over African-American drivers and black drivers more often, and why they pull them over for these petty offenses. We're talking about, in the case of Dante Wright, license tag, right? Like a sticker that is, all over the country, they're being issued late during the pandemic. And so we have cops patrolling that are supposed to keep us safe and protect us. And they are pulling people over for a sticker as if they are debt collectors for the state. And we have to address that issue. And once we address that issue, we can avert the killing people part. And we can address the pulling black people over part.
Yeah, Michael, you're talking about a sticker, talking about an air freshener, so many examples of minor things that lead to officers pulling people over and then the person being unfortunately killed. So I have to ask you about the article that you wrote, which is out today, in which you refer to the Stanford Open Policing Project. Explain to us what that study found.
So the Stanford Open Policing Project is the largest traffic stop study ever, right? So it aggregates all of the data from around the country. Every police department in the country that offers data on police stops, it aggregates them, and it looks at them to see what kind of trends they can find. And what they found is that cops pull black drivers over more often than white drivers. They stop and search them twice to 2.5 times as often as white drivers. But here's the incredible part. They found that white drivers are more likely to have illegal contraband. And so, it goes against all of the notions that we previously thought, just because the only thing that we had was what police told us. But when the data comes out, it always shows that there is no reason for cops to target. And when we talk about police violence, it doesn't correlate to crime. It doesn't correlate to neighborhood violence. The only thing that it correlates to, the biggest study of this kind said that the only way to predict whether police will shoot an unarmed person or not is to look at the person's race. If they are black, they are more likely to get shot than anyone else.
Right. And you actually answered a really interesting question on Twitter yesterday about the most ridiculous reasons that you, Michael, have been stopped by police. So here's your tweet right here. You said, quote, "I've been pulled over for driving too slow more than I've been stopped for speeding. Also stopped for running out of the house that I own, glancing in a cop's direction like I'm up to something, whispering, slowing down to turn, looking like a guy they're looking for, and spite." Now, that is a startling list of reasons, and there were thousands of similar responses. So many people sharing this story. It's almost like there's simultaneously 2 different realities, right? The people that feel like they are protected by police and a segment of the population that feels like they are being constantly harassed by police. Talk about that, Michael, and this trauma that a lot of people feel having these interactions with police and how that then affects their relationship with police when they're confronted by them?
Right. I think it affects it both ways, right? Because, you know, we like in the case of Dante Wright, because we know what police do to Black people, we are afraid when police pull us over, right? So it's kind of self-perpetuating. Police do kill Black people more often. So Black people are more afraid when police pull them over, which makes police kill us more often. And so, you know, we often wonder, you know, how we can solve this problem. And I think the answer is simple: just stop killing Black people, right? Like if they just stop killing Black people wouldn't be scared, and then they wouldn't be as afraid when they pull us over. The data doesn't support the violence that they use. The statistics don't support it. The training doesn't support it. It's just a thing that people believe, and because they believe it for no reason, right? Like it's not like when they pull us over, we are more violent. It's not like, but because they believe it, we are more likely to die, right? So part of that is training, right? You got to teach them how to overcome those prejudices, what we call subconscious biases. And we have to just, at the end of the day, just find a way to stop them from killing more Black people. You know, it's interesting that more Black people are killed by cops every year than cops are killed, period, right? Like even when you multiply for the number of times, you are more likely to be killed as a regular Black person in America by a police officer than a police officer by anyone, right?
Wow.
Like, so we have this notion that police and traffic stops are dangerous when it's not as dangerous as being a Black person in America.
Yeah, the research is really eye-opening. Michael, thank you so much for coming on and talking about it. We appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.